try this again. Hello. Tis I, we, me, myself and I, David. It was 2200 when I attempted to go live. It is now 2207. Weirdness afoot, that's all I can say. It is the 20th of the 2nd, 2020. And like I say, I was going for a 2200 cast, but the universe stopped that, has delayed me by 7 minute. And we are here at 2207, thwarted. The number 2 has told me no. Universe said no, but welcome. Thank you for joining of this eve. I have have some ideas kicking around, and if you did see the channel messages community that I put up earlier, it went something along the lines of they are nice balanced numbers, and later on man requires his one-man virtual kung fu SWAT team of initiates of self, that's you, and witnesses to an initial testification, not so much testator, because that's to do with last will and testament, but a declaration, an intended declaration of trust for the care orders, the ones that are vulnerable at the moment massively. So that's why we're here, to discuss recent findings, discoveries, ideas. I'm extra tired, I don't mind saying, so you'll have to roll with me, bear with me. If I lose my thread, it's just because man's tired. We have arbitrarily injected dialogue within our society, is my findings and discoveries. Arbitrary, yes, much like we've compared the execution of orders within the alleged lower courts, civil participation court venues, non-crown, and arbitrary, injected, not put there by design of nature, dialogue, conversation, language, etymology, this punctuation and grammar, and it's slaughtering our sons and daughters. And this is to do with your domain and to do with dominion. And today I heard a word on the wireless, a reference in Adonis and God. And yesterday I was watching a documentary that was on about the bloodline of Noah since the flood and the changing of DNA, the lineage of man going back 9,000 BC to Lebanon, and the buildings there where they have up to 1,200 ton blocks. Yeah, 1,200, 800 ton to be fair, to 1,200 ton blocks of granite and sandstones, all built up on top of other empires, previous capital buildings there. So check out the megalithic blocks of Lebanon and you'll find out. So the bloodlines, Abrahamic tribe and descendants came into play with God and Adonis, from Phoenician Adonai, meaning Lord. All right, so comparable to God, comparable to Elohim, comparable to such things else, but Adonis in Phoenician, that would be Adonai, meaning Lord. And in Greek mythology, Adonis, he was a handsome youth, a shepherd man, I do believe, and he may have suffered his demise whilst hunting a wild boar. The legend goes anemone flower is said to have sprung from his blood, because he was loved by Aphrodite. Don't forget Hermes and Aphrodite, them two allegedly got together, and that's how you get your hermaphrodites, language wise anyway. That's what's happened in my mind. Zeus allowed Adonai to be restored to life for part of each year, allegedly. So whilst we're on, I've said the word blood, we'll give a moment for the Hanan Shisha, various victims of the shootings in Germany there, and what I heard on the wireless today went through me. I was quite took aback by, imagining a scene of everyone relaxing in a cafe bar to be peppered with an array of high velocity metal objects coming through commercial shop front windows. I just thought, oh, I'm sorry, the way my mind plays stuff out. I am quite graphic with things in my later years of, imagery. So we're here because Germany is saying, where is the protection in some extent? And they are right. Where is the protection? Where are the protectors? Where are the rules? Where are the limits? Where are the boundaries? Blood being spilled is not a popular topic. It's controversial, and we give a minute to show respect for an horrendous way to go out. Bosnian, Bulgarian, German, Kurdish, what's happening in Germany. I think these semantics, tactics, the loss of trust. Trust is man's protection and only one true currency. So here I am, having a chat with you about certain random tedious links that ultimately over the course of the day bring me into a thought consciousness potentiality of looking around and examining what's going on, and I see that there's a great need for the protection will come from man. It won't come from a corporation, it won't come from an authority, and it won't come from the Messiah ascending down from the heavens one day in the near future to resolve man's made problem. If man makes the problem, man must solve the problem or be taken out by the problem. So the trust and the protection would come from here on in. That I've had a few emails and some messages, and I've recently spoken to a brother, and they shall remain anonymous, but they are a scriber on this channel, and they've explained to me the legal processes and the application that they went through to look after and apply to look after a clan member, a family member, but one of the relatives, we'll say nephew, niece, uncle, this kind of lineage connection. So if you want to, in your clan, assign the caretaking and responsibility from yourself to another clan member, blood clan member, direct, then there isn't a problem with that. But there is in the legal system, because the legal system is what manages the data self, the person and everything like that, the common public area. So what you do in the private doesn't necessarily reflect on what you do in the public. When you are in the public, that needs to reflect onto whom is associated with that identity, entity, legal, lawful, etc. So we need to keep up with. So I was very grateful for the time that was shared and the information. It's going to remain confidential, personal and private until this scribe is coming on for a chat with us in the near future, possibly at the weekend, similar to what I do with the living legend Kev. He will come on and we'll get him on and put some questions and let him tell you first-hand knowledge of the application and to submit to be part of a process and a policy to then end up with the blood connected nephew, niece with you legally. So what I pointed out was I was very grateful for this insight information on what's gone off and how they found it, and the hoops that they've had to go through. And I said, you still only end up with the legal trustee responsibility. At the end of the day, when all that's sanctioned and approved, and you've gone through, and the legal system, the estate says yes, or the state says yes, you are now the legal guardian. The guardianship has been approved effectively. I says that's not how you would really want things to sit, given the discovery and possibilities of positions and titles that you can claim. That's not the most beneficial one and safe one, is it? And we all know why. So he did comment and say, yeah, so what would you propose? And I says, well, the reason why I brought... Easy now. I'm back. There's something wrong with the connection. It's being interrupted. Oh, wow. This really doesn't want to happen. Well, the systems are online, but the tube account is going in and out. Yeah. I've got a strong Wi-Fi. It must be a sore point, the protection of man's assets from the state, from legal trustee position to, law allodial title. So, when I say that I need notaries, witnesses, what the notaries do, be careful which notaries. We talk about notary public and public notary. I need a note making as of this day, the 20th of the 2nd, 20. We will privately concentrate as of this day forward on the recruitment of ambassadors and protectors and trustees to assist in every major city in Britain. It's going to be a Britain-based thing. It's not in England and Wales. It's not a UK expression, declaration here. I'm not going full way with it, but I'll let you know that we will, within our current trust, create a dedicated British trust for the protection of our sons and daughters that are unable. So I have the certainty of intention, okay, and I know what go on here. I'm not going to read everything now, but the key test establish whether the requisite intention is present to consider whether the creator of the trust wanted someone to be under a duty to hold property for the benefit of another person. The use of the word trust need not be present to show certainty of intention. However, when it is used, it may not show certainty of intention depending on the context. The court will look at the substance of the creator's intent to see if they wanted to impose an obligation or request the trustees do something. If it is merely a request, precatory words will be evident. For example, wishes, requests, confident. The question of intention is assessed objectively, having regards to the opinion of the reasonable persons. I'll spell it Guibenkian, 1970, AC 508, Lord Upjohn said that in cases of ambiguity, the court must use innate common sense and desire to make sense of the settlers' expressed intentions, however obscure and ambiguous the language may have been used, to give reasonable meaning to that language. Certainty of intention is a problem in situations where there is a self-declaration of trust. In Jones versus Locke, 1865, the father received a check and blah blah blah. So you need the next chapter, which would be the certainty of subject matter. Trust can be declared over all kinds of property, including intangible property. All right, so the subject matter would be, we're going to look at giving time, love and information to ones that need it. Those that have time, love and information in an age where you can't get free water, but you can get free Wi-Fi, So the subject matter, the bulk of something. You've got Palmer versus Simmons, 1854, to reference for one example, to constitute a certain subject matter. And then we got certainty of objects. All right, the objects would be initially discretionary beneficiaries, because you can't, unless you was like the NHS, which is for everybody, the trustees, the beneficiaries, the set up in that from the grantor person's benefit. You use your person to get in the NHS, so everybody with a person can benefit from the NHS trust. So for this trust, this is going to be initially for the vulnerable, weak, broken, care order, the ones that are under care orders. Our care orders are to, we have orders from above, the commandments, when I say orders, covenants, direction, universal laws, laws of attraction, laws of power of intent, certainty of intention. They're mirroring the natural ways of, and they're harnessing the nature design, like the algorithms, and they emulate that. There's a replicators. All right, so the ones with the care orders and the vulnerable, the ones that have been put to fostering and within the state itself. So that would include not just, you see, this is just the tip of the iceberg, because we have the weak, the needy, the vulnerable, the less abled, the non-compos mentis, the physically less abled, the mentally less abled, the deaf and dumb. Is everybody needs a little help somewhere. We're all non-compos mentis and not legally trained and not efficient in. So with this artificially injected dialogue of the legal realm upon us, and these areas to look at, an expression of trust is simply that. You either trust or you don't, but you can back something up with certain elements of, and we've explained how we wish to proceed and how we see this with Jesus as Christ. As I said to Santos, I says, when I've looked at the positionings of the text and the literature and the sons and the lords and the masters and the princes and etc., I says they're telling us that Jesus and Christ are separate, and we should be coming with Jesus and as a Christ-like consciousness, and the time, love and info would essentially be effectively the combined res that that you would give, because we create this trust ourselves rather than utilizing an institution or a government sanctioned or a European funded. And then we have a steering wheel committee, and we have ambassadors and protectors and outreachers. I called one of my scribes the other day. It was already a born ambassador, might have been fly on the wall. Protectors, trustees, and at the discretion of, we would go out and help. You would, in your city, community, town, borough, domain, your dominion. So you are notaries of this day forward that we intend to do that. You are witnesses to the fact that it's not a last will and testament, so there's no testator here, but it's an expression of an intention to get some private ass kicking done in the form of vocabulary, literary, and going back to the fostering of the people then. So all those that have currently got a little, prince or princess there, check this out. One man was on the radio the other day. I thought I had some bad luck now and again, but his son's had his credit card on the Xbox for a while, and he's been playing a free game called Fortnite. On this game called Fortnite, the credits are paid for. You use your digital sweat equity credits to buy, again, digital credits within a game. It's a game that's free to obtain, but they make their money. They make their millions and billions a year by these in-game purchases, and this lad's only racked up £11,500 of sweat equity on this father's credit card, and he's on the radio station saying yes. I couldn't quite believe it, and wow, just unbelievable. They get addicted to these games so much so, and they've spent and there's issues here, because I'm aware that some of these game domain servers hold credit card details or bank details, etc. Promissory note, credit details of your person's private financial sensitive data. Yes, Kev. And they put them on auction sites and bid them, let them go for bidding and that. And weird things happen. They get hacked. They don't do it knowingly. I'm not naming anybody, but sketchy things have happened with accounts. And this man's tried to get it all investigated. And the company said it's all from that same IP address. And wow. If you know anyone that's got a little princess, I don't know if this is the right term now, 11.5 grand bill in 1 month, 30 days. Yes, 30 days. So this is a heads up. If you have got a little princess at the minute and prince, and you've given any app authority to charge, all right, here's a commercial market merchant trader heads up from me. They don't put limits on the amount that these princes and princesses of ours can credit and spend. So if they sit there addicted, that's a proper addiction. And when you say to me, oh, Dave, it's not a drug, so it's not an addiction, it's gambling, they are getting a reward from these apps, in the form of whatever, a bonus box, an extra suit, a person's buying. Can you believe it? When we was little, money was real, and that couldn't, but now they're spending real money in a digital realm. They're sitting there rubbing their hands, these inventors of these games, because millions and millions and millions, it is in the billions, to be fair. If you research how much money Fortnite and just for instance, Minesweepers are looking at making and what the stocks and values are worth, shareholding prices, it's absolutely ridiculous what go on. And these little ones are spending your credits in the billions worldwide, and these games don't have alarms. So this is the thing that the trust will do as well. We will educate and we will actually help, because here's another example. Mum comes on, little ones stole the card details, about under 18, using it on an app, and they've charged mum's card up. She went to pay a bill, got rejected. She's like, oh dear, better check it out. She went to check it out. Little Billy there has gone and got the credit card, or debit card as it is, and put it on the app, and the app's taken it and then allowed the credit. So the mum's then been told she's not allowed the money back by the bank. And I'm like, hang on, whoa, hang on. So there's lots out there happening at the minute that would also benefit families. And if you're looking at, or you have fostered, and you'd like to know more about the current assumed, presumed legal possessory title, etc. situation, then listen up, because you've got to research, and then I'll look at your comments in a minute. And you've got to look at everything we say, what we proclaim. At the minute, Boris and the minions are all in a kerfuffle. We've got Priti Patel getting in the headlines for the wrong reasons. Got Sajid Javid and the fiasco there, the Home Secretary, the Home Offices, the tax offices, and certain other offices are not happy. They're bad fits. And I can only see eyes getting taken off the ball more severely, unless somebody casts a magic spell, or the Messiah does indeed come for those clouds there and come down and save us from the honey monster and his crew. So yeah, we would like to do this on a city, on a landmass of Britain basis, should I say, law, privately. One master trust with a sub trust inside, shell trusts and so forth, and everybody linked up. We'd incorporate on the domain, the .com, our private domain, the layer, where your layer is. These these times and words are picked, specifically. Now you witness this declaration of intent to assist the weak and the vulnerable, the ones under orders of, and I'm not giving anybody any orders on this video by saying your care orders. What I'm saying is you have orders, and it's a play on words. I would never give orders. I'm not a captain or an admiral. I express intent and request assistance, energy, input, data, and yeah, it's a shame we haven't got some of them billions each year raised in accidental spending and so forth, and stealing of cards by children for online apps. And like I say, in reference to Germany, I don't belittle that at all, or any kind of attack that's in the media and there's loss of life and blood. I don't know the full details. I know as much as the next man. I'm taking it on face value. But we will protect ourselves and we will change society. Society has to change from within, not from a foreign corporate directorate that comes from above, that is foreign, that's a foreign language, that forces you under the rule of, the force of, and, no. This injected dialogue, this arbitrarily injected, unnatural, foreign, negative, upside down, backwards, semantic, encryptic, etymologically, syntactically. Our sons and daughters, our princes and princesses, we have a bloodline to be proud of, where forefathers of many battles, etc., shall not be in vain. They would be proud of us for all those that attempt something. Those that stand for something, will not fall for anything. But those that stand for nothing will fall for anything. It's about we have all these constitutional and Magna Cartas and etc. Arguments of, but at the fundamental basics, at the end of the day, when you go into the public domain, there's Phil and Holly talking about flat Earth. I know they have exposed a lot of excellent stuff, and we would like to use our time and resources now. If we actually did focus, I just thought, wow, if we could funnel energy of some kind to a decent enough setup. I was going to come on the camera, right? I've got a Lego just for fun, and because it was dirt cheap. When I say dirt cheap, less than 20% of the original price. A Lego Buckingham Palace. And while the monarchy is disbanding amongst this crumbling of Babylon, I did think it prominent to say that I'd like to set up the trust in the near future. There's very soon via the .com in the private. And then I'd like to propose that we use Buckingham Palace to say sorry about this, and to get the compensation going. We'd get them to go out and use one of their stately residences, or northerly, easterly, whichever residence they care to, adorn and ensconce in for the rest of. And we would, as the landlords and owners of Buckingham Palace, the true sovereigns that gave sovereignty to that lady in the coronation of. You cannot give away something of which you do not possess. We may be giving away our sons and daughters and assets rights via deception and non-disclosure, but Buckingham Palace would sure do for a nice big charitable trust, venue for care, respite, and recovery of these poor lost souls that would need so much in the form of education, mentoring, reforming after being in the hands of AI algorithms and over-managed, underpaid, stressed out. I'm not saying this is for everybody, but these care systems and homes are not very exact and concise sometimes, and there's more and more revealing investigations being done. So we also say to the Queen there, as a token of goodwill, as a sign of your dedication to the young blood, we'd like to we'd like to put a notice of equitable interest on Buckingham Palace, please. NOISOI. Possession is 9/10 of the law, Dave. You just got to get in there, son. You just got to get in there. Stake your claim. Right, I do declare, smashing the champagne bottle on the side of the palace, that this sovereign establishment now, that'd be something to witness, wouldn't it? Then we use that as the HQ That'd be so nice, Liz. That'd be lovely to help formulate. You know, the strength is in the blood, the power, the life is in the blood, and our blood, if you let it slip through via legal tacit acquiescence and ignorance of, it's from the outside when you look at it all, it's quite horrific, and it's only going to get worse. It's bad now, but it'll get worse with regards to, you know, these rules that the system's having. Ignorance is no defence. You know, well, how many rules have you got then? Oh, millions. Well, how can anybody learn them? Exactly. Well, I don't want to play then for that reason. I am not willing to engage with you any further. I decline respectfully. I'm no contract, no consent. Bail, 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 dive, dive, dive. Here is the person. I'm off. So let's make some light of it. We have got a serious job when I get stopped in my tracks sometimes and have a momentary, consideration in our busy lives. I know it's not easy. Those that can have the energy, the time, the inclination, the knowledge, the foresight, then yeah, we would like to hear more. I'd like to do more interviews with anybody that's been through the care system. Here's a disclosure, even from me. I did leave the family home by order of my poor mum. If those of you that saw the Sun and Moon video, she was on there briefly and explained about our interactions and times as mum and son, and I love her to bits. She's a true iron lady for me, for what I saw happen in the form of domestic violence. And you know, nothing was pretty and perfect. It's not making excuses, it's real life, fam. It makes 8 Mile look like the Teletubbies. And we've each got our story. So I left the domain, the family layer, at 15 by order of mum, and that wasn't because she was thinking straight either. That was because of, personal private issues. And yeah, I was in the system of care at 15 and estranged away from, and I'm grateful for the help that I got from the system, because if that wasn't there and I was in another landmass or country, then I would not maybe have got any help. So it's not all bad when we are here, but I'd like to hear from others that have. So I haven't had the harshest experience. I stayed in a halfway house in Crooks in Sheffield, near the Children's Hospital, behind the side of there, if anyone knows the Sheffield landmass of Britain. Then yeah, and it's where the prisoners come out of prison after serving their sentences, paying their debts to society, and then they have nowhere to stay, so they initially get put there whilst the social housing, social system finds them housing, accommodation, job, employment, etc., reintegrates them back to society. So that's where I got put at 15, and I saw some like characters and whatnots, and I was up till all hours watching Prisoner Cell Block H, something like 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning, living a bad way of life and doing exams at the same time. So I've got the, I'm not coming from the most harshest of areas, but we are looking at wanting to harness the abilities of those that have been in and have come out the other side and have got something to give back, that can, also use their emotional intelligence. That's something which is in sharp decline. The emotional intelligence of man, we are losing that. If you have emotional intelligence, I'm jealous. I have a minimal amount, medium amount. It's improving. So yeah, the state doesn't have emotional. AI wouldn't have emotional intelligence because it's not emotive. It's a rare commodity that man possesses. And if you have some experience or a similar experience with animals, say veterinarian things, nursing, care homes, any kind of care, love is love, information is information, and time is time. So if you've got experience in any of that, then you're qualified too already, probably overqualified to assist, and then we have the ones that are good at managing, networking, sorting out, and that's where we need to go now and work out those that have or are wanting to possibly in the future set stuff up, we will have direction for what different, when we've said about the last will and testament, living trust, different types of trusts, private, ones that bypass the probate, different things, different options, different benefits, then we will have these already for you. An option, will and testament, etc. And also those that get trouble with the rank and file and have legal claims made, then we are going to intensively focus on a step-by-step officer-agent interaction where we've pointed out what is what and what is, for you to consider and look at so you can navigate. It's the navigation that seems to be the issue now. You have the artillery, you have the big gun, you have the outfit, you've put your credits in, the game is on, but nobody knows where to go. It's there's no navigation, there's no direction here. It's just we're in pioneering new territory to some extent, because we don't often mention Freeman, Magna Carta and Constitution. If you've noticed, these are three omitted words from these hangouts, podcasts and whatnot. So I want to talk to you that have had fostering experience, that have fostered, that want to foster. I want to talk to and interview ones that have been in the system, and then I want to also privately move forward with this initial declaration of the expression of trust that is going to be done in the private trust for the sons and daughters of Britain, the princes and the princesses, for us to self-protect ourselves, all right, where we authorise, we through the, I can't believe I'm saying it, but through the divinity and authority of thy will, simply put, there you go. And you will do that, and it has to be respected. There are no governing, what did I want to read you? That was some notes that I made that says for legal and something. Did you know? What's it now? A testator is referred to as a moosi, M-O-O-S-I. Someone that signed up for a wasiat or a will under the plan initiated by the promised Messiah, thus committing a portion not less than 1/10 of his lifetime earnings and any property to a cause. Such amazing things on Discovery, what you find out around the realm and how other societies also interact and carry on and manage and view, protect. In law, a settlor is a person who settles property on trust law for the benefit of beneficiaries. In some legal systems, a settlor is also referred to as a trustor, or occasionally a grantor or donor. Where the trust is a testamentary trust, the settlor is usually referred to as the testator. The settlor may also be the trustee of the trust, where he declares that he holds his own property on trusts, or a third party may be the trustee, where he transfers the property to the trustee on trusts. In the common law of England and Wales, it has been held controversially that where a trustee declares an intention to transfer trust property to a trust of which he is one of several trustees, that is a valid settlement, notwithstanding the property is not vested in the other trustees. Capacity to be a trustee is generally co-extensive with the ability to hold and dispose of a legal or beneficial interest in property. In practice, special considerations arise only with respect to minors and mentally incapacitated persons. All right, yeah. A settlor may create a trust by manifesting an intention to create it. In most countries, no formalities are required to create an inter vivos, INTER space VIVOS. Yes, over personal property, but there are often formalities associated with trusts over real property or testamentary trusts. The words or acts of the settlor must be sufficient to establish an intention that either another person or the settlor himself shall be the trustee of the property on behalf of the beneficiary. A general intention to benefit another person on its own is sufficient. These formalities apply to express trusts only and not to resulting implied or constructive trusts. For a settlor to validly create a trust in most common law legal systems, they must satisfy, as we've mentioned, the three certainties established in Knight versus Knight, which is intention, matter, and objects. See also, yes, we don't need offshore taxation, footnotes, references, no. So I hope that clarifies a few more cloudy areas for you. You know, a trust created while an individual is still alive, inter vivos, okay? While one established upon the death of the individual is a testamentary trust. The testator. So you see why you have a difference between a settlor and a testator. That's these words and positions and titles and types are key to what you want to do. If you want to protect assets or control property or bypass probate or millions and trillions of different little fantastical man-made scripts and tricks and acquisitions and protections there. So we're not going to be here all night, and I am very tired, and that's why I'm struggling, to be fair. My tiny little red-eyed Jedi eyes are stinging. Let's go to the comments. Albert, Alan, easy. Jerry, Benjamin, what? Quinn. Not true, persons do not have NHS number. Well, man doesn't have jack shit. That's what I know, Albert, and they are the instruments that we implement, you know, national insurance number, date of birth and surname. Is that there? So national insurance number is the NHS number I was on about, but each to their own, my brother. Yeah, this cast was not meant to be. 22 in the on the scribes, is it? 2022. Welcome, thank you. Enough is enough. We have seen enough blood, the life in the blood slip away. We want to put out there templates for the interaction protection. If you are in a strong family unit and you'd like to you're in a strong clan and your clan would like to lock stuff down, and you've you're solid and you're going to stay solid, then I strongly urge that you look at all three areas: a last will and testament, a living trust, and a private trust. So you can have your inter vivos, your testamentary, and a private, and you can lock stuff down and play fantastical counter maneuvers. So should anything ever threaten or try to usurp and amalgamate, then you've locked it down. You've used your will. All right. Now, if you're only 20, then still consider it, because this is a good, we've all, up until recent 2020, when I say recent, we consider this at 40, 50, 60 generally, weird things of later in life, unless you're fortunate to come from the private area and then your family has these things in place and they just continue to roll on, eon after eon. Yes, just know that we will have further guidance and document simplification as Kevin and I have been having a chat once we go through certain notices, procedures, tribunals, representations, counterclaims, etc. Then we just put that and write it down, and what's done is then put down, so we don't need to keep repeating. And to some extent, yes, you do need to tailor each response, and to the personalisation, the sensitivity of the private data needs to be looked at, and each case, claim is judged on its unique merits, so to speak. So, but there is, like Kevin knows, certain public requirements, limitations, and assumptions, presumptions, and rebuttals and acceptances we can now do to checkmate, and then obviously move forward or not, or choose or rescind, or now notice. So we'll put all of that down, but it's subject to change. And with regards to family, these are the family tools, those three, living, inter vivos, a testamentary, private, and then there's many more, but those three would be a nice area to look at for the preservation of assets for children, protecting spouses' financial future. There's legal and financial, special needs beneficiaries, so forth. That's where we're at here. We have special needs beneficiaries that need to be looked after, preventing minors gifting to charities. What if Jesus walked down the town and crucified his person on a post cross as notice, and on the third day the real Jesus rose from the dead? He would be staking a big claim, Jerry. Although had his daughter charge 100 on a game feeding a fake horse. No, Benjamin, no, my brother. Aye, feeding 100. See what I mean? They're laughing. How has this happened? What? We laugh with you, not at you. That money could be used, there's people starving on this realm, and there's other people, I say people loosely, just in the general sense, oh, wow, we will all be made to pay for this. Alan, how you doing? King Alan of the Gregor clan. At the House of Blair. Hello there. Feel like we should all be curtsying. That was a fine introduction. What it was. Nice one, bish bash boff. Exactly like mine, Alan. Hence my handle. What's going on? What a queen of the title, Linley. How do you view age? Does it need to be done in years? Could it be viewed on maturity? Age, Anons. Well, in the tribes, age was physical. It wasn't so much, they counted the passings of suns and moons and etc. They knew the lunar cycle, the celestial cycles, and they knew the times. They had their own non-Gregorian calendars and ways of. So age, tribal, dependent on physical, and everyone's different. So just because I'm 12 and there's 1,000 of us, say, let's keep it small, that are 12, that 1,000 aren't all clones. So some will be a little bit ahead of others and some will be a little bit behind. So yeah, it's a bit like time management in general. It's never quite accurate to, if we all have midday at the same time, it can't be midday for all of us, dependent on our geological. So yeah, time is interesting. Age is time. Age and time, wisdom, knowledge, important. Physical displays of would be better than saying, oh, look, it's time by you're 14, you're 18, whatever, and you're 25, 21, 25. Legal age is just for legal stuff. That's how I view age. Other than that, it's a bit like signing. How do you view signing? You don't trust me if you want me to sign something. How old are you? Are you 18? Are you 21? Are you allowed to do that? And otherwise, it's just physically demonstrated. Numbers, age ain't nothing but a number. You might be at 10, equivalent, like they say, girls mature faster than boys. So 12 and 10. 12-year-old girl might be comparable to a 10-year-old boy. So the girl is 2 years in front. She's really, or two 10-year-olds then. But at the age of 10, the girl is equivalent of a 12-year-old. That's what it is, isn't it? Both, you've got to keep it constant. So the boy and the girl are both 10. But so the girls are said to mature faster than boys. So the girl has a mental age of 12, but physically remains 10, atomically clock related. So therefore, I've proven what I've just said previously. So it's done on displays of, because in fact the girl is 10. Yes, the daughter's 10, but we know academically she displays above average signs of 10-year-old boys. Most girls at 10 will display, not maybe now, but back when I was, this was a thing. So don't ever ask me stuff about numbers and times and things, because I love, that's my area of. It's fascinating. It's a bit like when you have, if you ever have been involved, or I don't wish you to be, but I've had a couple of accidents in the highway in horses, and time slows down. It's very perceptive, it's relative, and it's misleading, deceptive. Is that enough for you, Al? I've exhausted myself. If your date is only hearsay, how old are you? Yeah, that's right. It is, man's date of birth is hearsay. So age would go on lunar and solar celestial management, and inception from the zygote conception. So 1977, this is why it's hearsay, because my date of birth is when I was conceived as the zygote, and the zygote was not able to be confirmed. The day that mum and dad got together because if I came May, June, July, August, and so I'd have been conceived August, but if I came May 78, then I was conceived August 77. Man conceived August 77. I don't know the date, time, and everything that the egg and the soldier semen there came together, and the divine spark happened, and then the cellular division began before the the conception, the implantation, and the forming of the embryo and fetus for the Terminator. So yeah. How old are we? It's hard to say, fam. You wanna enlighten me on you manage that? How do you see your time and conception date? Immaculate to conception of the divine spark is a time. The time man comes out from mum and is crowned into the realm of this existence is your born date or legal birth. Then we have the registration date, where the event is recorded. Man is not registered, an event is happening and it's recorded, and there's a non-disclosed swapping of titles and rights going off there. Thank you. And then we may have a baptism christening date. So maybe 4 key dates before you embark, and then you have your childhood, minor, where you're civilly inactive, remember, spiritually, physically, legally, lawfully inactive, legally not allowed to be held accountable. And then we come to 18, and this is where the numbers in the legal comes in, because once you get to those magical numbers, you're now legally liable, and blah blah blah, an adult, an adulterer, and off we go to a life of sin. Not for all, I don't mean that maliciously, but incredible. I'll show that out. There you go. Using a location on my phone, I use force as consent not freely given. Yeah, too right. They are attempting to force me to clock into servitude using location on my phone. Well, that's your private phone, so does their policy dictate onto man's private property. Where did I agree for this private corporate policy to rule over my life and my private property? So my contract with employment with said company is now telling me that it wants me to use my private property. Well, if I've got to use my private property for said company, then either give me a device to do that on, yeah, for free, or if I use mine private device for corporate commercial interface and application, then there may be a bill and charges, eh? Bloody hell, this is what things are coming to. Oh, Quinn, my father bore me in and my mother bore me out. Only they are privy and also nursing witnesses. No way. My words today, the rest folded, but they don't know what to do with jazz. They say you need to claim your estate by 20. They say, do they? Do they really? The age of majority is obtained at the age of 21. That's why you get the card on the born day, 21 anons. At 21, and it's got the key on it. They go from the general to the major in the military ranking of this divine comedy. So that's the pinnacle point of majority, where if you look at trusts generally, mostly not trusts that mature that are financial, but different trusts that are for property and held, estates in with an executor, they will be given at the age of 21, the age of majority. So it's not that I'd argue that that's a little bit watered, mixed, and that's the only thing that's 21. Yeah, a crime is a crime. Equity, look at the maxims of equity. That's what we use. Once the trust is set and it's done, and you've got the objects, the intentions, the certainty, the matter, all of this going off, then you've got the equitable governance, guidance of. So then the armour of God is adorned via the application of the equitable governance, covenants of the maxims, and it knows no time. So a crime is a crime, and it needs to be dealt with. A controversy is a controversy. It will need to be dealt with. So that's a controversy. That's your infraction, legal, civil issue. And then you've got the private, which would be the law. The equity and the law, though, and then the equity maxims would be for what? The England and Wales trusts. When you've got the biblical connotations, John, and the truth shall set ye free, and the truth shall set ye free. All right, so the truth is what? The instruments and the application of the technology, the instruments, and your will. As Ike has put it, the discombobulation of the soul and the spirit, the psyche, the mind, since know thyself. It's what's happened. So the splitting up of that is removed the will of man. If you remove the will of man, and that's the locality in this universe, we're in a non-locality, which is why these electrons can speak to each other across billions of light years in an instant, or in front, but yet a radio signal, traveling at the speed of light can take billions of years to get somewhere. So someone's missed a trick, you know what I mean? And I don't know how I got onto that tedious link, but I'm happy we're here. And the rules and the governance and the covenants, yeah. So you have the biblical references, as well as the equitable one, and as well as the rules and policies of legal areas. The biblical governance would be what? What would it be? What would you think it would be? Ecclesia, the realms of ecclesia, canons, Latin, law. Well, not so much law, but secular Roman when I say law. And you've got your Latin mixed in there, the UCCs, the commercial trade, your maritime admiralty, all four really. Sticky, nasty bondage to church, law, court, affair. And then you've got good old universal, as we've brought to you, outside of canons, ecclesia, outside of England and Wales, and legal law, and outside of in its own realm. Really, there's many, you see, that we can bounce around hypothetically, because all this is non-tangible. It doesn't exist physically. I can't give it you in a postage package. You won't get it delivered. This is all, you see, like Parliament and government, should I say, not Parliament, government. It isn't actually a government headquarters office building, and like what's happening with Boris's clans team. It's all fragmented and scattered. So this is we give credence to something which is dangerous, because all rise, necromancy, giving life and energy to something that doesn't exist, but when you focus attention on it, becomes into reality. But it isn't reality. It's not modelled on nature, and it's danger, danger, stranger. So what we have is ourself. We used to spit on hands and shake them. All right, we used to have agreements and pacts and such things, and blood. I'm not saying you're going to do this, but history shows that there was different ways and private ways of managing. Public commercial interface is a danger, as we have found. That's right. Keep us in the loop, Jerry. That's incredible. The cheek. Yes, Alan, thank you for your concise there. 3 dots after a signature means some people put it before as well, and after. When you are signing without liability, if you're going to put VC or under duress or all rights reserved, I would consider affixing that before, at the beginning, and then doing the signing and autograph and etc. And because some people have known to take edges of pages off and whatnot, and just the signature remain there on copies thereafter, leave it there. When you sign lowercase, the first name, we call that a calling, Alan, not a name. The first name would say that's your calling, Christian name, I suppose, given name. You don't choose it, dear Al. You are given it by your mum or dad, generally. And that's your calling. And lowercase, that would be an autograph initially. See celebrities and their autographs for that. And thumbprints to endorse and identify the seal or mark. That would be your stamp, if you want. Your stamp is only one of them, isn't there? A left and a right there. So I sign it, non assumpsit, get in G. Anders, hello. We are wrapping up 11:11. I've been on for an hour. I've done and told you what we're aiming to do. If you give me an email at the usual place, david@splspro.com, I will respond, reply, communicate and chat, and give me details to read out and bring to others. Interface, like I say, about fostering, adoption, care orders in general, good and bad experiences, praise and grumble. I'd like to focus on some positive. If there is somebody that's got a happy story or something out there, even if it's private and it doesn't involve the social services, then great. And yeah, we're here to look at the options going forward and improve on family home security in the form of these aforementioned instruments and deeds that you can execute. So thank you all for the comments and the interaction. It's been a weird cast. I don't think they wanted. I did advertise. I needed some notaries, witnesses to the event. That was just a little bit of hype, just to let you know where we was going and what realm we was heading down. you can't expose and build and publicly create a private trust. That stands to reason in itself. I'm sure you can work that out by just how I've said that. But even if you've already done that, if you was to try, someone asked you to prove it and they wanted you to show it them and expose it, that would be a big no-no as well, because you would dissolve it and it would all go pear-shaped. So you need to know certain little bits of tricks and technical maneuvers. And yes, I'm letting you know what we're going to be doing and focusing on and building upon and dedicating to as of this day going forward. So thank you very much for the time, the input. Truly, I am honoured to be with you. I value your time and input, commentary, information, links like you do mine. So the laws of equal exchange have been done, and we'll be back with more updates. I'll grab Kev, some thoughts and feelings from G-Star. There's a lot more documents to come, and we'll see how the offices of the secretaries and taxes and whatnot settle down. And do not despair. Stay calm, stay focused, stay loving, self-governing, sovereign, initiates of self, however you put yourselves. Much love. Sorry about the subject matter. Let's foster some ideas out. Let's foster an opinion out. Let's foster the people, foster the blood. Your care orders, man doesn't give an order. I'm not military. It's just a play on words. All right. But care orders have been given, and a detriment to our blood and lineage. Hypocrisy, madness. And if you could see that, giving me a thumb up, I'd appreciate it. If you've had a bit of fun time, educational time, humour. And we'll be back soon with Kev, with updates and interviews. Much love, scribes. Let me just check the chat. Okay then, ciao for now. I think I just saw Lisa's name there because I scrolled down. What are you saying? I must have missed you somehow, sister. Sorry. Hearts and waves. At Jerry. Who is they anyway? They. We went looking for they. We found him. It was John They. 1720. John They. Yes. The establishment, the corporations, the rule of law, the imperial force. That's who they are. I heard I posted on comments under vid last show, but YouTube took it away. Yes, YouTube are playing games and they're not playing nicely. I'm under threat and attack, but I'm holding it down. Others aren't so fortunate, and I see her sister Karen's done a video about one that's got took down, which is ironic in itself. Not Karen's, but what's happened. We're looking at alternatives and finding, we're looking at that, Anders. Much love to you. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, scribes. Keep up. Keep on keeping on. Keep up doing what you're doing, and I'll see you soon. Button Moon. Ciao for now.